Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to all of you from all of us at Dementia Inclusive Durham and Time Slips Creative Storytelling. Just such a wonderful morning to be together. This is our last Thursday morning session, if you haven't heard. And what we are going to do is just follow up with our lovely, lovely, beautiful question session. So while we're getting started, those of you who are calling in or checking in with us on your computers, go ahead and let us know where you're from in the chat. That's on your bottom of your screen. You can go ahead and just click on that and type in. And again, we're so excited to have you here. Well, take a minute. If you have a pen and a paper or a pencil and paper, go ahead and grab those and just set those aside. And we're just looking forward to kind of celebrating a little bit. We've got some other folks checking in. We've got probably a larger group this morning than what we've had in the last few weeks because it's our last session. So what we're going to do is just give folks a minute here to all check in. And then what we'll do is we'll get started here in a minute. So again, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. I'm Kathy. I'm from Time Slips Creative Storytelling. And if you haven't gotten a pen handy and a sheet of paper, go ahead and set that aside. And if you don't want your video, for those of you who are on your computer screens, if you don't want your video to show, on your bottom left screen, you can just click on stop video. That's completely up to you. So it looks like we're getting a nice big group. We've got 18 this morning. So this is just a wonderful, wonderful gathering of friends. So I think since we have a pretty large group here and it's 10:34, that I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Sarah, who's the artist facilitating this morning. So Sarah, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Kathy. Hi, everyone. So great to see you trickling in. This is a national group this morning. I'm noticing folks in the chat saying hello from Durham. Bobby's with us from Eastern Kentucky. Katie's in Chapel Hill. Connie woke up bright and early in Pleasanton, California. That is awesome to see. Kimmy's in Carborough. Karma's in Durham. Jim, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here in Durham. Nancy is in Durham. Celeste is here from Charlotte. Anne is here from Milwaukee. I can say that because I'm from Milwaukee and it is wacky there. And Celia, your beautiful face makes me smile. Thank you for being here in Durham. Hello. And Lisa is here in Chapel Hill. And of course, Kathy and Phoebe. And looks like Jules is here. This is great. This is a party. Okay, so I am Sarah. That's me. And my last name is Wilbur. And I'm in Durham as well. I'm not from here, born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've also lived in Los Angeles. I lived there for 10 years. I also lived in Providence, Rhode Island for 2 years, which is a tiny but mighty small little state. And I'm a dance maker and educator, and I'm just grateful to be here with you in these mornings. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'll set us up here. I just want to tell you that our goal is straightforward. It is just to let our creativity help us relax and enjoy this moment and to feel connected to people by sharing in a creative experience and sharing the creativity that we each hold. So we've been doing this for a few weeks now, and we've been recording these sessions in part to keep them available to folks on the Time Slips website. So we're recording today, and if after today you would like to go to see the other sessions, if you missed any, they're available at timeslips.org, which is the Time Slips website. You just click on the resource tab, and you can return to those sessions as often as you like. And there's some really good ones in there. So here's what we're gonna do today, okay? So first I'm gonna give us this framework for our session. Runs about a half an hour. I'm gonna open up by asking a beautiful question or a series of questions. Then I proceed to kind of guide us through ways that we can explore and imagine that question, just using your imagination. During that time, I'm gonna ask you if you're interested to share some of your responses. You can use the chat. Sometimes we unmute the microphones and we just share out loud. For those on the phone today, there's a couple other ways that you can share that I'll point to after the session ends. And at the end, I'm just going to say thank you and goodbye for now. That's the basic plan. So for those who are new, for those who've been here, here's how we roll. As Kathy said, we just suggest that you get a pen and a piece of paper, bring that nearby so you can make a few notes if you like. So go ahead and grab that if you don't have a pen already. If you can't find any paper or pen, you are going to be fine without. That's a suggestion. And more importantly, during this whole session, we encourage everybody to shift away from the pressure and expectation of memory. Let's move together instead toward imagination and build on the strengths of expression that each of us has in our own imagination. So what this means is there are no wrong answers to the beautiful question. Whatever comes up for you in the moment is the right answer. We are inviting each other to answer and to make meaning. And we truly believe that everyone is creative. Creativity is an innate human trait. If you can breathe, you can create. I say if you can breathe, you can move. If you can move, you can dance. You see where we're going with this. Don't let anyone tell you differently, okay? So we've been doing these sessions for a few weeks, and they are part of a project in Durham that we're just at the beginning phases of, where we're going to be building a creative community of care with elders and folks from the Durham area. And we would love it if you would share your responses to these beautiful questions. So if you want to share, please do. And there's 3 ways that you can do that. I said this before, if you're on Zoom today, you can use the chat feature and you can just write anything in at any time. And I try to keep an eye on that. We might even signal that the microphones are open if people want to speak out loud. That helps folks that are calling in to participate as well. You can also, after the session's over, send us an email with any response or story that you'd like to share that came up for you. The email address you would use is info@timeslips.org. Or you can give us a good old-fashioned phone call and leave a voicemail. We have a voicemail where we gather recordings of stories. And you could call this designated number. It's also on the screen. The number to call is 1-800-220-1822, extension 1. And when you share, please, we'd love it if you tell us where you live, where you're coming in from. And you don't have to leave your name unless you choose to. If you do leave your name, we promise we would only use your first name if we ever shared out the stories publicly. So that's the framework. And I think that's enough housekeeping. So we are ready for our moment of creative care. So I'm going to move on to the next slide and just ask everyone to sit tall and notice how you're sitting and how you're feeling today in your seats. Let your chair support your weight. Let gravity do its job, right? We're going to start real simple here with just a nice deep breath in. Let's take a breath together. Inhale up. And let the air out, exhale. Let's do that one more time. Everybody, deep breath in. And exhale. I don't know if Kathy wants to unmute microphones. It's kind of fun to listen to the chorus of breathing. Let's take one more deep breath in. And I've been inviting people to bring their hands to their chest if you're comfortable while you breathe. Feel what your body does while you breathe. Feel how your body rises when you inhale, inhale up. And feel your body fall down as you empty the air out. I really need that one today. You can let your hands rest at your sides, and Kathy can go ahead and mute us so we can move. Here we go. I got unmuted. We are now ready for the next phase. Here's today's beautiful question. It's a question about a question. All right. What question would you ask a child today? What question would you like to ask a child today? Children bring all kinds of things into the world. I like to think that children bring rhythm into the world and bring life. When I was growing up, I remember my dad liked to play music by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And they have that song, Teach Your Children Well. Do we know that song? If you know it. I love that song, but I also have come to realize as I get older that I think children have a lot to teach us if we choose to listen. So today's beautiful question invites you to listen to children's voices and to imagine the world for just a little while through the eyes of a child. What question would you like to ask a child today? Now, here's a place where you can take your pen and you can write your question down on a sheet of paper, or you can do what Jim just did and you can enter it into the chat. Jim would like to ask, what do you most enjoy doing? That's a good one. Bob wants to know, what kind of world would you like to live in? So you can write them and keep them to yourself, or you can share them out. Jules is asking, what makes you laugh? That's a great one. I'm gonna move here on to the next slide. The slide I was just showing had a picture of a bunch of children running down the street, and one of them had a blowing bubbles, had a bubble blower that was making a big, ginormous bubble in the wind. So these are terrific questions. And for me, I was thinking up this question and kind of looking outside the window, thinking what I would ask. Connie would ask a child, what are you excited about today? I'm looking at the trees in my backyard. And as I was looking, I was imagining, like, if there was a child right here with me, I would ask them, what do those trees know? Or maybe like, what do those trees want us to know? What are they trying to tell us right now? I would love to hear some child wisdom on that topic. Anne is asking, what do you do to calm yourself when you're scared? That's an important question. Does anyone want to, we could unmute for a second, Kathy, and people could offer in if they have questions. Sometimes it takes a while to stir this imagination up. Does anyone feel like chiming in? Other questions coming to mind?
This is Kathy. I would love to ask, what is your favorite kind of ice cream that you think people should be eating in the summertime?
Kids have a lot to say about that topic, Kathy. That's a perfect question. That's a great one.
Hi, Sarah. This is Carmelita. I love the question that popped up a few seconds ago about what would you like to do today? I think it's from Lisa. That's I think it's a pretty direct question.
Yes. What are we doing today? How are we making the world today? You know, what are we going to build today? I love that so much. That's great. We can keep the chat open. I'm going to move us on to another picture. Here I'm showing on a slide for those of you on the phone. It's a picture of two young children enjoying ice cream cones. And, you know, we're reflecting today on the gifts that children bring to our lives and to the world. And for me, I think one of these gifts is how deeply children pay attention to things, everything, and how, especially things that give them joy, right? So next, what I want us to do is I want to invite you to think a little differently about children, and I want you to think about how children move, what they do in the world, how they race around, how they move, what inspires you about how children move through the world. And again, you can take time here and just write down a few things, activities, actions, moves that move you, or you can just drop a response right into the chat. Anne says, full speed. Yes. Debbie says, fearlessly. Yes. What inspires you about how children move through the world? Yeah, there's so much about this that inspires me. Yes, being curious. Jules is saying, yeah, there's no filter. There's just full speed. Yes. Honesty is what Connie's saying. Yes, how children are present, how they stay present in the moment, Kimmy. I hear that completely. I, of course, am always inspired when children dance. The moves that children come up with when the music is on are amazing and original and great. Yes, Lisa, noodle-like moves. I don't know how to describe them, but they're like beautiful dances. Yes, jumping. Anne says always jumping. Ants in the pants. That is something I identify with a lot. This is great. So I love these responses. They're coming in from the chat. And we're going to move on to the next request here, kind of building off of these two questions. And for the next idea here, we're going to write some more. And today's work is not really a poem. It's maybe a 1 or 2 line sentences on your piece of paper in the chat, just to write down a few lines about a journey that you might like to take today in the company of a child. If you could go anywhere, if you could do anything in the company of a child, what would that adventure be? And I'm gonna do this too. So I think if we can sit here in silence for a moment and just like give it some thought. What type of journey might you take in the company of a child? I'm gonna write mine down really quickly here. Looks like folks are busy writing as I scroll through here. Some of you I can't see, but for those of you who are on the phone, we're moving into another slide where we share out, and it just says, let's all listen, let's share for a moment. And selfishly, I put a photo here of myself with my 2 nephews who are children that totally inspire me in the world and teach me a lot. And I would love to know what adventures you all thought of and would want to go on. So these are a little bit more like stories today. But Katie's saying she'd like to go to a museum with a child and learn with them. That is so fun. Notice what they notice, see what they're drawn to and why. I love that so much. And then Jim is telling a story of meeting 2 kids in a park with their dad, who took them to one of the local lakes here to catch turtles. That they weren't going to keep the turtles, they were just going to have fun catching them and releasing them. I bet those kids were so excited to do that. I mean, who wouldn't want to go catch turtles, really, right? Celeste is talking about a company that makes model trains, is headquartered just north of Charlotte, which I did not know that. So she definitely wants to go and see the model train exhibit with the child. Oh, my nephew Lucas, who's in this picture, the small nephew, mad about trains, completely into trains. Yes, Jim, I would love to go to the turtle hunting expedition. Kathy's saying she would go to the water with children for the first time and see how they move in and around the water as it dances in the sand. These are beautiful stories that are in the chat. They are coming in. There's so many, I can't keep track. For those of you who aren't on the chat with us, Bob is imagining holding hands with the child, letting them lead, and just giving up control over where you go. That is so great. Just floating in the spirit of childhood for a few moments. So beautiful. And Anne is lying down on plush grass, looking up at the sky on a clear day, wondering at the shapes of the fluffy clouds. I love that cloud dance. There are stories up there for sure in the clouds. Kimmy's excited to go through her neighborhood on a daily walk with the child and see what they see. Notice what they notice along the way. I love doing that stuff. These are wonderful stories. I I will just share I wrote down, I'm in a Milwaukee mood today. So I'm remembering my favorite ice cream place in Milwaukee is called Leon's Custard Stand. Anne probably knows this place. Is it still open? Custard is like better than ice cream, by the way. It's got eggs and it's drippy and frozen and delicious. So we would go to Leon's and get chocolate waffle cones, like just the big drippy ones. And then we would go to Lake Park, which is over Lake Michigan, but there's a big bridge there and there's like rushing wind and you see the lake. And I would just like stand there with my nephews and listen to the water and just lick the melting ice cream and breathe. That's my story. These are so great. Oh, I love this. Lisa, please, can I share? Lisa's saying she would roll down the hill sideways, looking up at the sky as we roll. I love doing that on the grass. I think that's what you're mentioning. And then you smell like grass for the rest of the day, which I love so much. Smelling like grass. Katie got Sundays yesterday. Yes. So Katie Heinemann's sister's birthday was yesterday and they got some Sundays. Is it too early on Thursday for ice cream right now? I'm feeling like maybe we should have some celebratory ice cream. These stories are beautiful. And this is sort of what we do when we come together, is give ourselves permission to take these journeys. Every Thursday, we've been hosting these creative care gatherings, and we were inviting people who are sometimes relative strangers, to come together and imagine a new world and just share something creative. And the wisdom of children has been the permission slip today. This has been the prompt. And I really do believe that children have a ton of wisdom that they're sharing all the time if we choose to pay attention to that. So my nephew, Lucas, who's on this slide, the smaller nephew, reminded me this the other day, how wise children are. When he was asking his mom this question I wanted to share, he said, "Mom, how are we ever supposed to meet new people when we can't talk to strangers?" Wisdom, right? So I have to say that question to you all because I don't know all of you, but I know all of you now because we gave ourselves this time and space, right? So thank you for bringing your fascination to the question and for being with us today. We're gonna wind up this session today, but your journeys are super exciting and important, and they have been this entire time. I encourage you to look at our archive on the Time Slips website and maybe see some of the other great stories that have been told. So just to round out today's session, we truly hope you enjoyed today. And if we could, I'm just gonna invite us to take one more deep breath in, collective breathing, inhale up and exhale out. Just to honor the space that we've made and pay a little closer attention as we move to whatever we're moving to next. Thank you for being here. Once more, you can obviously keep sharing your responses with us in the chat, which we hold on to as an archive. Or as we said before, you can email us something that comes up for you later today. Maybe there's a picture of a child that moves you. And you can send that picture or that message to info@timeslips.org. If you'd like to give us a call and leave a voicemail, the number is on the slide, and here it is again out loud, 1-800-220-1822, extension 1. So for me, I'm Sarah, and I'm saying I'm super grateful and in experiencing a lot of wonder and inspiration from you all today. So thank you for that. I'm gonna say see you next time because this is just the beginning and you'll hear from us again. And I want to hand things off now to Carmelita Karhoff, who is from Dementia Inclusive Durham. You heard her voice earlier, and she has some additional thoughts to say to bring us to a close. Hi, Carm, are you there?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And great to see everyone this morning. And of course, on behalf of Dementia Inclusive Durham, thank you for taking the time to join us. And as we are on the thank you mode, I couldn't express our deepest gratitude to Time Slips and the Time Slips team for bringing us this opportunity to share moments of joy for this last 10 weeks. This experience has strengthened our resolve to continue the work of creative engagement here in Durham. So What's for more information from us? We definitely will keep in touch as we move forward with the planning. So for the signature, goodbye for now. I'm saying goodbye for now till we meet again. We will be in touch, and stay well. Back to you, Kathy.
Thanks so much for that. We are just so grateful to spend a little bit of time with each of you for a little bit of creativity on Thursday mornings. So while this is goodbye for now, all of us at Time Slips are just really excited that we've been able to just spend some time with all of you. So again, we would love to hear any thoughts that you have from this morning's beautiful questions, or if there's something that you want to call in and leave on our 1-800 number. Again, that's 1-800-220-1822, extension 1. And we would just love to hear from you. So find someplace around you that has some good melty ice cream. And we look forward to just seeing all of you soon, very, very soon, between all of us here in Time Slips Land and Dementia Inclusive Durham. And until then, we will see you next time. Take care, everyone.